Hey everybody, Tom Bullington here, InMotion Realty. Hope you're having a great day. It's a beautiful day here in Hastings, Minnesota, and wanted to check in with you. Having a lot of sellers ask me as we get into the process of selling their home, because a lot of homes are selling relatively rapidly within a few days of actually going on the market. What happens next when we sell our home? So this is just a brief synopsis. Obviously, for more details, we can talk individually, but to give you just a brief synopsis of what happens when you do sell your house, essentially when you accept an offer from a prospective buyer, what happens is there is typically an inspection period that happens where the buyer and the buyer's agent will talk, and they'll say, okay, in the offer, somewhere between 7 to 10 days typically for an inspection to take place, professional inspection to take place of your home that you're selling. Sometimes the buyers nowadays, with so few homes available on the market, they are waiving the inspection. I don't necessarily recommend that as a buyer's agent, but sometimes buyers will do that. But typically what happens in a normal year or typical situation, the buyer will say, okay, I'd like to have an inspector come in, look at the home, 7 to 10 days. They look at the appliances, they look at the roof, they look and see if there's any sort of evidence of any leaks or radon. Sometimes they will do a radon test on your home, look at some health and safety issues, the wiring, the electrical systems, things like that. If there are any issues with the home, typically the buyer will request that the seller do one of two things: either A, correct the things that are wrong with the home, or B, that they will take some money off the price of the home prior to the sale. And that's up to the seller's discretion. If the seller would like to do neither of those, the buyer doesn't have to buy the house at that point. Also, in the state of Minnesota, the buyer could walk away at any point during that inspection period. They, in good faith, hopefully are going to be buying that house regardless. But if they decide that they maybe saw another house down the road that they prefer, sometimes buyers have been known to just walk away from a home that they've offered on successfully and call it the inspection period time frame. I, again, discourage my buyers from doing that. But sometimes that does happen. So after that inspection period is done, whether that's 7, 8, 9, 10 days, something like that, typically it goes into pending status. And what I always tell the sellers is once you have accepted an offer, from the moment that you accept that offer, it's typically between 30 to 45 days before the home actually closes and you're handing over the keys, you've moved out entirely, and the buyer is actually the new owner of the home. So typically within 30 to 45 days, unless the closing date is set ahead of time to be a little bit later on in the process. So if I'm a buyer, I'm saying, okay, depending on what kind of loan, there's all sorts of intricacies to this, but typically it's 30 to 45 days, unless there's some sort of other arrangement with the buyer and the seller to extend out the closing process beyond that. So if you have any questions, whether you're a buyer or a seller, I'd love to fill in any gaps or answer any questions that you might have. I'm at 651-402-6356, on the web at tombullingtonhomes.com, or you can email me at tom@inmotionrealty.com. Again, Tom Bullington, InMotion Realty. Hope you're having a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.